All right, first of all, what are you eating?
Some almond nuts.
You like the nuts, huh?
Hey, what the hell, take a shit.
Hey.
Hold on. Attachment into the sense is just where like, it's you cling onto something. It's more like I can feel like I don't know. Like you cling on, he just says it too. Like, well, actually, let me tell you right, one sec.
Okay.
You probably can hear it too.
A break in the relationship brings about, I don't have to say anything, cling
Right here, alright.
to you.
Right here.
The word attach means to cling, to hold, but I can't.
You're saying it's like attachment is to cling and to hold.
The feeling that you belong to someone,
The feeling that you belong to something,
and that somebody belongs to you.
or somebody belongs to you. Attachment as like in a person.
Mm-hmm.
To hold.
Because somebody was asking a question about attachment and love, and you were saying like, all right, but it seems like if the opposite is detachment, then it's almost like, because I was thinking this too at one point, but like if attachment's not good, and detachment seems to be like an uncaring, like the withdrawal from something. It's like, you know what I mean? How do you detach in a good way?
Well, that's Krishnamurti, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching that video. And I remember him talking about, attachment isn't good. Like, it keeps us from, actually, like, moving forward with our life. It, like, holds us back.
Yeah.
But, like, there's good attachment and bad attachments. And then I think what he's trying to say is not completely detachment, but, like, a balance in between.
He goes on to say it in this one. Here's a lot of these videos
Yeah.
where he talks about attachment. So this one in particular, you might not have seen. I didn't finish it either, but just in this little bit at the beginning, he starts talking about how in detachment, he's like, he defines attachment, and he's saying if you see that attachment, it's not like the withdrawal of something. I forgot what it was, how he said it. It's like, I didn't get to finish it because that's when he like Skyped in, but it's not exactly what we're thinking is when he's saying detachment kind of thing. But he's saying attachment still. He's not going towards the balance. He's saying that like if I'm attached to you, that means if you're not there, I'm going to be hurt by it. It's going to hurt me. Like attachment is also an extreme level. An attachment isn't just like I like you. Attachment is like we are like I need that.
Okay, so he's talking about to the extreme.
Yeah. Well, attachment in itself is kind of extreme because you're attached. That means like I'm fused with it. I need it. I'm like, ugh. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not like, it's hard to be lightly attached. It's like love. Love is like that extreme. It's not like I can, but to love is already talking about that extreme of belonging and being with something. Like, if you just kind of like something, go ahead.
Are we going into sub-genres of attachment? So there's attachment and then there's like the love attachment and then other types of attachments? Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think overall, attachments, whatever, but then we can go into the subgenre because it's easier to dissect something in like an analogy. So it's to talk about like you and the girl or you and an ideology. Like I would, I'll probably say it later, but like me, when I first was like going and thinking about like what the truth is and trying to figure out like what's going on in the world and what's going on after life and stuff like that, it took me a while to find myself in the pattern that I kept doing. It's like I grew up on reincarnation, and every time I would hear something that used reincarnation in the argument, I would like jump to it, or I would like, if I heard reincarnation things, it was like reinforcing my beliefs. So I was so attached to the concept of reincarnation that I'm like trying to make everything fit this paradigm.
Right.
I haven't detached this yet. I think this is the truth, so I'm like grabbing things. I'm thinking I'm being totally open to everything, but it took me a little bit to find like, why am I so attached to this concept? Like, why does this have to be the way it goes? Like,
right.
Just because I was raised that way, and you have to break from that. And like to see it, once I saw that I'm doing it, then I can be more free in thinking because at first it took a while. It took a little bit to see that I kept piecing things because I kind of wanted it to be that way.
It's hard to break from a belief that you grew up on, and like once you believe it, if like nothing really discredits it, and it's easier to make it, you justify whatever it is
Yeah.
to make it, fit your beliefs.
Yeah. So we can have an attachment to like ideologies.
Yeah. Okay.
And like I would say like the when I was talking to Justin and Aaron, I would try to show their attachment to the thoughts that they're not really breaking free. They kept saying, I think for myself. Nobody thinks for me, I do whatever. But I'm like, and then like we would go into conversation more, and now I would say, look, you're not totally free from this paradigm that you're in. You're in a box, and within that box, you're moving everywhere. You're more free within the box.
Right.
Like, but you're still in the box. You haven't questioned the box yet.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't truly questioned it yet. You're saying like, all right, well, the Bible says this, so then this, and this, and this. And no, but people think it's this, but I think it's this. But you're still talking about the word from the Bible. You haven't questioned the Bible yet.
Right.
It's like that kind of thing. Like, yeah. So like, there's attachments there. Obviously, with relationships, that's my hard one. But like,
well, that kind of makes me think. There's this kid that I met recently. He, what's the word? He has Asperger's.
I don't know what that is. I've heard of it, but I don't really know exactly what it is.
Let me look at that real quick. But
do they shake or something?
No. Asperger's syndrome. It's a form of autism.
Okay.
Separate subtypes of autism that were full of existing diagnosis spectrum syndrome generally considered to be one of the high functioning end of the spectrum. Affected children and adults have difficulty with social interactions and exhibit a restricted range of interest and or repetitive behaviors.
They say it's a form of autism it's like in a less extreme form of autism. Or I guess that autism is like has different forms anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, where I was going with that, this kid is always in his head.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was raised, given everything to him. Like he's never had to work for anything. He hasn't earned anything. He has some pretty good talents, but like he doesn't use it. He just doesn't know how to work for anything. He's 24 years old. He's had 2 jobs. Got fired from both.
Mm-hmm.
And he's highly critical on everyone. Like he puts everything on everybody else instead of listening. And like when you try to talk to him, you can tell that he's not listening. He's already ready to respond before you finish. So like he's extremely close-minded.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of goes in with attachment. Like he's so not like in the mind, but like he was just raised that way, so it's like automatic for him. Like that's how he's always been.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm kind of just thinking like, how do you break somebody out of that? How do you get someone to be more open-minded?
Yeah.
Especially how that's the way they've been their entire life. Cause
especially with that, because it's like, I don't know, he's so in it himself that, I don't know. You'd have to see it in somebody, I don't know. Like, how do you get somebody to self-reflect on something they might not even, like, believe in, or I don't know.
Right, yeah. It's, like, really hard to get him to see himself when he can't even look that way.
Yeah.
Like, he can't self-reflect.
Mm-hmm. He needs a goddamn boot camp. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, because I guess that's, like, a form of attachment, right?
Let me think. I'm thinking like attached to a set of ways of being, but is that attachment? Because it's more so, I don't know. Like I want to say it's more so subconscious kind of thing, but maybe a lot of attachment is, but like.
Mm-hmm.
Is a thought pattern? All right, I think it's more not thought. Is it thought? Yeah, a thought pattern. Could a thought pattern be attachment? You know, just the way I think, the way like, you know what I mean? My patterns of thinking necessarily is that attachment though, because you're
not that specifically, but I think it comes from an attachment.
Yeah. He's attached to like certain way of being,
Yeah.
or attached to a certain.
Well, he has a difficult time, with social interactions. Like, he's constantly thinking that people are laughing at him or making jokes about him, like a conspiracy.
Yeah. How much of that is like a disease in the brain that makes it that way, where he maybe it's like, you know what I mean, where it's more like a handicap, whether or that he can control. Like, I don't know, but you know what I mean? What I'm saying? Like, if I have, like, if some neurons just aren't firing in this way, and they just don't.
Yeah.
Like, can I really like think that way if they just don't? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I like to think that it's possible that he can break out of that.
Yeah, but that's like, you can break out of autism, right?
Well, I wouldn't
Does
say.
it work that way, or?
Well, I wouldn't say break out of autism, but you can find ways to make it work for you. Well, because there's autistic kids that have really good talents. Like, they can focus on one thing. Like the one kid that can play the piano really, really well.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of them.
Yeah, right. So they find their own talents, and they have a way to send their energy and do something, really well.
Yeah, I think that's they find an outlet to express themselves, but like they still actually, I don't know, because there was one guy who like actually started getting better at speaking the more he played the piano. Like he was really bad at first. He would hit things that he couldn't like control, and he couldn't speak or anything, and he kept playing and playing and playing. Then he would go to like concerts and like play or whatever, like his dad would bring him, and even like as a grown man. But like I heard, like, hey, now he can talk, so his speech patterns and stuff like that, and able to kind of like calm down, it's got improved over time, because like constantly expressing yourself, like I think that calmness maybe the neural nets in your brain start to fire in a certain way, and like the longevity of that, it starts to grasp a little better.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Because I know in that case, but I don't think in all cases. But then you have the crazy things like they can't sit still. Like there's a guy, like when he's not doing anything, he's like, I was watching a bunch of videos before, and like he can't stay still that much, but when he could play the guitar. And like, well, when he's playing the guitar, you know how like the little strings and that kind of intricacy, like he's sitting there getting down the damn guitar.
Yeah.
But like when that's done, he's back to kind of like not being able to.
Just got like so much energy to come out and doesn't know where to put it.
But then when it's there, it's like very like meticulous, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Meticulous.
Meticulous, but not meticulate, I think.
Okay.
All right, so I think we kind of fell off topic a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
I thought that would like be a part of it, but
it's all good.
Anyway.
We'll see what happens with it.
Well, I think.
Go ahead.
What Krishnamurti.
Yeah, Krishnamurti.
What he was specifically talking about was attachment on love, right? He was being
on in this particular video, yes, he goes into there's so many videos where he goes into different avenues of it, but yeah, on this particular one, and the one that we were talking about a while back was that.
Okay. Are you attached to anything now?
I have to be, yeah.
I mean, is there anybody that's not?
Oh, a person. Oh, a person. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
There's a person out there that's like not attached to anything.
Oh no. I was just thinking on me that like
yeah.
I'm definitely have to be. But what were you saying? Do you think anyone who's just not?
Yeah.
I think that he wasn't.
Yeah.
And I buy what he's selling, and he's not really like, I don't know. We'll get, that's a whole other thing. But to stay on it, I would say yeah. There's people out there. Just, I mean, it's hard because we're so blinded by all the other things that we don't really. And maybe somebody in that position isn't out there like, hey, look at me, look, you know what I mean? And look how cool I am, or like, or I don't know, or maybe they haven't chosen the path he did in like enlightenment and stuff like that to other people, or maybe they're just underground kind of thing. I don't know. But I think it's hard, and I don't think there's too many. I think the best you do is work with it. And I don't know, like I wish I could talk to him and like ask him really like, attachment, dude. Like nothing. Like come on, man, talk to me. like he was to like, all right, this here he's talking at one point he's talking about he's like, I can have attachment to like the audience I'm speaking to, because he's sitting there speaking to a bunch of people. I can have attachment to you guys that I want to meet everybody, want to see whatever, but I'm also can become hurt by not being able to meet you guys and not being able to talk to you guys. So I like need you because I'm attached to you from there.
Mm-hmm.
And like without you now, like I feel hurt, I feel lost, I feel whatever.
So could you put it in perspective that if you didn't have that person or that thing, if you were to be hurt by that, you could say that you were attached to it?
Yeah.
So if you didn't have video games, you would be hurt?
Yes. Yes.
So you are attached to video games?
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, I am. I go through times where I'm like, I'm doing all right. And here, actually, let's go back on like attachment with like love and things like that. Okay. Or not even love, or just with a person. Sometimes attachment is like not necessarily bound by love. Like you can be like, lustful for somebody, but like kind of attach yourself to them, but it's not like real true love kind of thing, whatever.
Right.
But anyway, with like another person, what I was thinking is, I wrote this down one time, I'm trying to figure it out. Say, you really like somebody, they're not reciprocating the feelings, but you're really attached to them. You've been with them for a little bit, like you thought it was going this way, whatever, but it didn't work out. So you're hurt by it, and it's like really taking you down. Like how that like emotional shit can suck. Now you're trying to detach yourself because you've noticed I'm attached to this person. This person, like with this person says, hey, let's go get food. Now I'm thinking, oh my God, whatever. And then you like get your hopes up, whatever, and you get food, but it's not going anywhere. And it's like, then you get struck down again. Or they go with with another guy and whatever, you know what I mean? They're like controlling your emotions so much and you're not, it's like bringing you down and hurting you. How do you detach without literally just ignoring or time? You know what I mean? Because I want to argue that if you get inside your head, really figure out your attachment or understand it, I think you don't have to literally have time and in space, because to me that's almost escaping. Though it works and that's easier, probably doesn't solve it, but like I
think time and space helps you get to that point.
But I would think that it doesn't, because put it this way, I'll get to a point where I don't care anymore. Mm-hmm. But that's more of like, let's say if you have a problem that's you've been confronted with and you just run from it and never deal with it, and then it might go away, but like you never really accomplish it. So say later down in the future that same problem comes again, you haven't truly understood how to solve this problem. It's still a problem, still going to be there. You haven't learned the tools to deal with this, but you've escaped it. Something like that. So I think allowing time and distance is more of an escape rather than really dealing with it. But then again, how do you deal with it when it's constantly in your face and you're whatever? I kind of think you can, but I don't know how. But I think you know what I mean? Like, how do you truly...
Like, time and space, I think that alone won't be enough. But it can become part of it. Because your ultimate goal is to fix that problem. And whether you do it later on in life or right there, like, I don't know how you would deal with it, like meditate on it, figure it out, like maybe has something to do with your childhood, like self-therapy, and like figure it out.
But you know how much harder it is when they're like, they're still
right in your face?
Yeah, I mean, they're still in your life to some varying degree.
Okay, so
because anything you see, anything you whatever of them, it's always going to remind you. And
so I think time and space would actually help along with figuring it out. So take some time to yourself and do self-therapy, or actually go to a therapist, or just talk to somebody who has an outside view, or even just yourself.
Think that
but the time and space like gets you away from that person.
Yeah.
Like if they're constantly like in your mind or in your face, like you're gonna need space, and you're gonna need some time to let that kind of like dissipate a little bit, because it's clouding your mind. You're not gonna be able to focus on that. I mean, some people probably have the ability to put that aside and like, okay, let's figure out what the real deal is. why am I, attached so much?
Yeah. And I think we all can.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the real trick, or the real aim, or you know what I mean, or the real like goal there. Because I would say that it's hard to differentiate between the time that you took off, like between it, because say you take time and space, and then you're also thinking about it. But then again, time and space alone will just, you'll just start to forget. You're not so attached to it anymore. Kind of whatever. It's hard to say, was it a time and space and then thinking about it, or was it just time and space, but you just happened to whatever. It's most likely, I would still say that it still was the time and space. You just kind of escaped it. You felt better about it. You think you kind of grasped it, but that's just because you kind of already got over it. And then by the time you came around to like whatever, like, oh, I'm good now, man. I figured it out. We're cool. But I think it was more so like, even if you weren't cool, the time and space would have been like, you would have been fine. Like, I'm not worried about her anymore. It's like, it's whatever. You know what I mean? Whether you even thought about it or not, I think like you would have still got there, like either way. Most of the time. I think the time and space, it's hard to say that it wasn't the like being away from it that like really got you over it. But you never really learned and got it, because it'll happen again.
You think that you're over it.
Yeah, you'll think you
think that you're detached.
Yeah.
Because of time and space, and you're like, okay, it's gone, it's past.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so
and I think
you could trick yourself into thinking that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if that same issue comes back, or a new issue presents itself that deals with the same thing,
yeah,
you're still gonna have to deal with it, and then you'll realize, okay, so it's not taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So then again, you're back to square one.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah. So then we go back to that. Do we need to? Can you? Is it more of a hindrance to give yourself that time and space, instead of soaking in the moment and soaking that energy and like, all right, I'm in it. Let's rock this like boat.
I think it depends on the type of person you are. Like, I don't think, some people can probably like take it all in, take all that pressure, like think about it, okay, let's get through this, and they can do it that way. Some people probably can't get to that point unless they have some time and space. Mm-hmm. Because they'll be so clouded by it, they can't like think on their own, because that's all they're thinking about.
Yeah. And I would fall in that group.
Why do you say that?
Because I just know how it's always been. Like there's different things. I'm talking about with like the love aspect, or like that feeling with like attached to a person. Like it's always, I've never just been able to be like, get my head and like just come out with them around or whatever, just be like, I've always needed time and space. And it's always been time and space. And I'm not over, I understand the wording, I understand why I shouldn't be attached to them, and et cetera, but like, it'll happen, and then when it happens, boom. And then how do you attach yourself without like, what's the difference between attachment and like loving someone kind of thing? It's like, it's hard to...
I don't think there's a separation.
I think there is. Why don't you think there is?
Well, how can you love someone and not be attached?
It's like in the way in which you love like a beautiful scenery, or like a beautiful like waterfall, and you love it. Well, you love that thing of it in its entirety. But I don't. Without that, when I walk away from that waterfall, it's not gonna pull myself with it. I'm still content with my own being. Like it's not really.
You're talking about two types of love, and there's many definitions of love. There's all kinds of types of love.
Yeah, we could probably have a whole conversation just on that.
We could, yes. But let's talk about love as an attachment, and you're saying to a certain person. Like, you can't, if you're in love with this person and you walk away, you're going to be hurt.
Is that always the case, though? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's the case that we think that it is. But we gotta take a step back and say, is that the only way you love? Or is that the only love there is? You know what I mean? You have to be hurt if they're not around you? Or is it because we're so used to attaching ourselves to something that we love so much, and that's just the way everyone's kind of doing it? Doesn't make it right, but like that's just the way everyone's doing it. So now we think that that's like hand in hand. I'm just posing the question. I'm not saying that's the way it is. I'm just saying.
No, I get you. But no, there are different types of love. Like, let me see how I put this. Like, let's say I walk away from mom and I know I'm never going to talk to her again. I'm just done. Like, I love my mom, but I mean, that's going to hurt at some level. So that's one type of attachment, right?
I guess, yeah. I mean, let me think. You're saying because you love your mom that you're attached to her. See, that's what I'm saying. That it's not that. Is that what you're saying? You're attached to your mom, so let's just automatically. You love your mom, so let's assume you're attached to your mom. But it's gonna hurt when you walk away because you're attached.
I wouldn't say because I'm attached. I would say because I love her.
Trying to think if that's. Go ahead.
Let's go back to the original question. Like, can you love someone without attachment?
Yeah.
You believe that you can.
I think so.
Well, I don't find that to be real love then. Or it's a different type of love. A love where you can love somebody without getting hurt.
It's not a love like that. It's more of see, attachment is also the extreme thing that we all do, and I don't think it's necessarily normal. It's what we just all find ourselves in these little things. Like I was gonna say like I have friends that I love, but like if they're not like always around or not around or whatever, like I could manage it better. But then again, like there's different degrees of that. So I don't know, but I'm just kind of arguing that I think that we all kind of, just because we all do it, isn't like right. Doesn't make it the norm. That when without that person, I am like nothing anymore. And a lot of it can be like illusory because like when you reflect on it, you're like, man, that was stupid of me. Like to feel that way or feel like lost and crushed and had no direction or whatever.
Well, certainly you're going to feel that way in the moment.
Yeah.
But later on...
Well, because you're so attached.
Right. So later on you think about it like, okay, that was stupid. And then, are you better then?
No, you're not better because you just got over it. You have it. You looking back, it's easy to reflect on when you're not attached anymore. You're not attached to that person, but the pattern of being attached to people that like you care for, or not even that you care for, but like you like a sexual partner kind of thing. You tend to attach to those probably a lot harder than anyone else. I would, right?
Right.
Quicker.
I mean, that's deeper connection. Yeah.
Yeah, you would. Yeah. Where was that going? What was that?
I don't know. It's hard to, pinpoint the topic here.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you're talking about love, there's so many different degrees. So we could basically argue.
Well, that could be that's a statement that I don't know if I totally agree with either. That we'd have to look into it. To say that there's so many different degrees of love, like we experience different degrees of love, but sometimes maybe a lot of it's just not love, or maybe it's love following like a strong attachment, different degrees of attachment, and then we interpret that as stronger love. So I'm just saying, like, it's dangerous to make assumptions based off something like that, like a blanket statement, without diving into the statement first, because maybe the statement that we then made another conclusion off of, maybe that founding base wasn't completely accurate. So I just don't know for sure if it necessarily is varying degrees. Maybe it's just interpretation. Maybe it's this.
Okay, so back on to attachment.
Yeah.
Where do we want to go with this?
I'll just dive into it. It's not like it's not like we have an exact plan on where to go with it. Just wherever it takes us. Because to have a plan is to like kind of already know the answer or something, but we don't know the answer really, or we don't think we do.
Do you think attachment is bad?
Yeah. I think attachment, you're always gonna get hurt by it, or you're always setting yourself up to be hurt, and it's gonna be painful. Jealousy is gonna come in. You're more likely to be hurt. You're gonna be hurt because of jealousy, or you're gonna feel like a possession of yours was taken, or part of you is missing, or something.
But there's always so much good in it.
Well, but it's not necessarily because you're attached. Attached is also remember it's that like I need, and that's not like that. It's not like you look at your girl and you're like I need you. It's not that crazy,
Yeah.
but that's kind of what's happening though. Because without that, you will feel all these things because it's such a part of you that boom is taken.
Okay, we'll put it this way. Say there's a couple, they love each other, but they've come to a point where they both realize they're not meant for each other. Mm-hmm. It's a mutual agreement, like, okay, so our paths have taken us here, we've learned a lot from each other, but there's no future here, like this isn't working out, and they gotta split.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a mutual thing, but is that attachment then? Because they're both still going to be hurt by that, assuming that they really love each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that attachment? Because they're able to, accept, how things are going. Because it's not like I need, and it's not like, it's not jealousy, it's not like any of the other points that you mentioned.
Yeah, so all right, we're saying that if two people they both are kind of reach a point to the relationship like it's not going to work, we're fine with like leaving that. But like what kind of hurt are they saying? They're not going to feel hurt. They're going to probably feel a sadness, but they're not going to feel like, I would say, like torn, because they're both kind of mutually.
I would say they're torn.
Why? They both like there's a sadness that's being taken place, right? Like a somber kind of scenario where like this relationship's not going to work, but we both are ready we're both ready to move on. So it's at the level of like pain it's not I don't even know if it's that we're both ready to move on. I don't feel like I'm hurting you. It's like the best scenario. I don't feel like I'm even hurting you. You don't feel like you're hurting me, but we both are okay with this degree. I feel like there's like a somberness to it where it's like
but the situation that's happening is it's sad and it hurts.
Well, does it? If you're both okay with it? You guys both want it?
I mean, yeah, they're both okay with it, but
you're both okay. Yeah, I mean, you're both okay with it. So it's like
it's more of like an intellect. Like they understand. Like I don't know. The energies are not matching up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you're saying it's more in your head. Where like, look, it's just like we still feel so strongly towards each other, but it's just like it's not gonna work out because you like this and I like this, and and your timing's this. I like to be whatever, and it's just like over the course of years, this is probably gonna go downhill, something like that. But like in the moment, I still feel for you, kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, okay. Here's where part of this is coming from. I have an agent, a friend of mine. She was in a relationship for a very long time, and then they had to split because it wasn't working out. It was nothing ever bad, but like the connection got lost.
Mm-hmm.
But still to this day, like 10, 20 years later, like they still love each other and they can talk and be best friends, but they can't have that same connection when they first met.
Yeah, what's wrong with that though?
Nothing's wrong with that. What I'm saying is that still attachment? Because
no, I think
they were both hurt when they had to split. Like they know like it wasn't gonna work.
So are we saying that they were attached to each other at any point? They probably were. Yeah, they probably were attached to each other. But over time, remember, breaking up is also over the course, whatever. And I think most of us get attached all the time. I'm not saying it's the best. I mean, my argument is that it's not the best way, but I think everyone's doing it, and we get attached to everything on different levels. But so they probably were attached, and then their breakup probably was over a course of like, like that emotional tilt starts to roll downhill. It took like about a year or something. So you have all this like kind of that hurt phase and all the things that were going down. There was definitely attachment, like pains and stuff that were going on during that time period. But then you had the time going by, I'm getting over it more, and then when people are pissing you off, because obviously they were pissing each other off, right? So like that kind of, it's more like that catalyst to like, I'm over it, and being more accepting of being over it. And then it's like and then there's like that somber period where it's like you're done, and it's like, or like, all right, we could be arguing all the time, but then when we step away from each other, it's like, damn, it's over. It's like, it's a different thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't think just because they left each other, that means they weren't attached. You know what I mean? Just because I said, okay, I wasn't attached, but I was hurt by it, so I was never attached. I think they were. And then you're also attached to concepts. So the concept of, I was married, I wanted to be like, I thought it was going to be forever, and you have this picture of what the beautiful marriage is going to be like, and I want my kids to be raised with that, or like, I'm not saying that's, I don't know their situation, but like, I want my kids to be raised with their mom and dad, and me to only have, like, never divorce, one husband, one wife, whatever, the whole time. You have this picture of what you thought everything was going to be of, and then it's not so much that person now, like, this image that you thought was supposed to be right, and like, the successful relationship is now like officially, boom, not happening. So there's also an attachment to that idea.
Right. Okay, so again, can you have love without attachment?
I think you can, but I know where
You've never witnessed it. You've never heard about it.
I don't know. I haven't dove in that
You think it's
deep
possible?
enough. I haven't like dug that deep enough. So I don't know for sure, but I think so. Can I do it? Can I do it? Yeah, I think so. Because since I think you can, I think we're humans. I think we all can. Can I do it right now? No. And I don't know the difference either between, like I was saying, like if let's say I'm in the process of detaching, how do I detach without looking like I just don't give a shit about you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think you have to internally, like, really learn attachment at its core.